This is April Lawson. I'm with Intellectual Radio, and it's going to be a good night tonight because I'm sitting with Brand Nubian. Yes. To my left, or your right, Sadat
X. Sadat X, member Brand Nubian, founding member of the Brand Nubian Brothers.
Peace, Lord Jamal. Peace to the gods and earths.
Yes. Okay, you guys are here at Double Door. I want to know, how did you all get started? Who kicked the whole shebang off?
Well, growing up in New Rochelle, we were in New Rochelle, New York, and basically what it was is, Grand Poobah was a little older than us, so he was in a group previous called Masters of Ceremony. And what happened was, as coming up in town, I would be rhyming and trying to do my little thing. Jamal was rhyming, trying to do his little thing, and Poobah was producing for both of us. He'd take us to the studio. If we had 8 hours, we might do 4 hours for Jamal, 4 hours for myself. And at some point, we came to a realization. We're like, let's make this a little easier, you know what I'm saying, and let's all get down together. And I'm telling you, like, the process wasn't really that long like that. Like, you see, like, some groups, they talk about they toiled for, like, 3 years and 4 years. The process was actually quite fast. And
How long? How long was it?
How long was it? Maybe...
Well, see, it's like the road to getting to making a record might have been longer, but once we decided that we were going to do that, then the process of us getting signed from the time we decided might have been like 3-4 months, maybe, something like that.
Whoa.
And we got signed with one song. Which was? A song that never came out. You never heard it before. It's called I Ain't Going Out Like That. When we were shopping, we didn't have even a name for the group.
How did that? Well, then how did you get the name?
Because we had to figure out a name for the group. They were like, okay, we like you. We want to sign you guys. You're going to have a name. You know what I mean? And so at that time, we all were on some conscious, type stuff. And, we wanted to bring something new to the game. And at that time, the word Nubian was not very prevalent. It wasn't really in the lexicon of, anybody really. Like, it's something you'd hear obscurely in like a Tarzan movie or something, like the Nubians, like, but yeah, so we were knowing some of the science back then. Dr. York had the Nubian nation.
Dr. Malachi York.
That's right. He had the Nubian nation and all of that, the Ansar rules, and he would talk about the Nubians. And so we took some of that language, and we were dealing with the 5% nation, but that word Nubian was something that stuck out. And so then we knew that, something catchy, a play on words, Nubian, brand new, brand Nubian. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, we understand. At that time, we weren't thinking it really as marketing, but that's what we was doing. We took the positive name and used it in a way that was able to market it by making it catchy with the brand Nubian type of how that just rolled out. And
I see that was brilliant. It was brilliant, even though you weren't necessarily
we didn't
trying
know
to be.
that it was brilliant.
But you know what? Going back to your point about all of the rhetoric and all of the just the terminology. There's a generation out there, you realize, now where we are. God bless that we made it this far, but there's a generation who may not know where a lot of the terminology, like drop the science and things like that, come from. So I just want for you all to just kind of speak on things like what's up, G, where, the origination of things like that and why this is conscious hip hop.
Words like what's good, son? Sun, shining like the sun. You know what I'm saying? People, they are, a lot of people, they think you talk about a son as a junior, and sometimes you may be talking about a son as a junior, but the sun.
I call my brother son
because he shine like one. Exactly.
You know what I mean? And like a lot of things that I said, yes, in the lexicon of hip hop, originate in the 5% nation, okay, from the gods and earths, okay? You have something that they call the b-boy stance, okay? Really, that originated with the gods. It's called the truth or square. You're standing on your truth or square, the 45-degree angle. When you say a rhyme cipher, ciphers come from when the gods would stand in a circle and we would build, and the way our wisdom, the way we would speak, the one in the middle, the way, if you were swift at it, would almost be like rhyming. The way you'd have a certain cadence and the way you drop it with the smoothness, and those who were, more adept at their lessons delivered it in a certain way with a certain flair. That's why a lot of the MCs some of your best MCs already had that because you were already doing that in a real cipher though, but where you were building on, you know, the mathematics of the day or just issues going on in the community or whatever the case may be. And so that's something that got taken from us is as far as now they talk about rhyme ciphers, where usually a cipher consists of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. These ciphers, not so much. You know what I mean? But you know, it just shows how a lot of things, peace, when you hear peace, G is for God. You know what I mean?
Just my whole thing is the what's up G.
Yeah,
if every young
G
black
is not
man could
gangster.
understand that that's not gangster, that's what's up God.
Yes, God.
Because we are gods and earths.
Yes.
And you know, I study a lot of different things, but here's the other question. You all have had so much longevity. What do you attribute to being able to last?
Well, first by having knowledge of yourself. That's probably the main, by having knowledge of yourself, being strong mentally as well as physically, because you know that comes like when we're on stage for these years, you have to be physically ready for this. A lot of groups, if you look at that came out in our era, not all, but a lot of them, they haven't been able to maintain themselves physically. You know what I'm saying? And they haven't done that. So I feel that
It's partly their nutrition, I think, too.
yeah, having
You're eating all that McDoo-doo.
Ah.
You can't feed that in your body. It's not food to live. Sorry.
Exactly, like you said, taking care of your body and like physically as well as mentally by knowing the game, by being able to change. You know what I'm saying, and being able to change, but staying the same. Like we've changed over the years, and we've done music, but you have never heard us come out like certain like maybe some old school groups come out and be other than themselves. You hear them make a song, you be like, why'd they make a song like that? That's not them. You've never heard us do a song like that. You know understand what I'm saying? We've always been able to change and adapt it to surroundings.
That's true. Yes. And like, okay, the most recent, let's talk about the most recent CD that you had, which was, what was it, 5%? 5%. Let's talk about that.
I mean, that's another example of just sticking to our guns and staying true to who we are. You know, like I said, the 5% Nation has had a big influence in hip hop since the beginning. So I felt it was only right to have a real, you know, something to commemorate that, something to really mark that and shine a light on that and let people see really what we've done since the beginning and the talent that we've contributed to, you know, the landscape of hip hop. So, yeah, that was something that I focused my attention solely on the gods and earths, you know, as far as I made it for them. Like, I didn't care if it was going to be on the radio. I didn't care if anybody else liked it. That was specifically for the ones that knew what I was talking about. And I was successful in my undertaking. And, yeah. That's what it was all about, you know, and that's why people love us, because hip hop lends itself to truth. I don't care what your truth is. If you speak truth in hip hop and you say it in a certain way that's catchy, people are gonna gravitate to you. I don't care if you're a janitor, you know, if you're saying that's something real, the janitor's gonna be like, that's that real janitor shit right there. You understand what I'm saying?
So it transcends. It
transcends, yes.
And it just touches and resonates with...
Truth resonates.
Yes.
It has an energy just like lies have an energy. Certain lies, though, they try to switch the energy to make it feel like truth, but those who are in touch with energy know the difference between truth energy and lie energy. And most of the hip-hop audience, at least from our generation, are very in touch with that truth energy. This newer generation is getting a little more fooled, but they're coming around. They're coming around. I have faith.
We do pray for them, and we love them because they're going to lend their new energy with progress. It's all an evolution, in my opinion. So, for tonight, what are we going to hope to expect from this show? Because I know it's going to rock, but I just want to hear what you think.
Well, I mean, we're going to do what we usually do. I mean, we pride ourselves on being on stage and being performers, being MCs, masters of ceremony, mic controllers. You know what I'm saying? So we pride ourselves on doing that. We got the band playing tonight for a couple of songs. So, you know, we're going to incorporate that into it and just get the people of Chicago, you know, something to bite onto, something to grab. You know, I think everybody's gonna have a good time.